Alright, this is John Cola with GrowingYourGreens.com coming to you from my front yard. This used to be a standard residential house with a lawn, and now it's a raised bed edible garden. I grow the majority of my vegetables here, and in the summertime I'll be growing more of the fruits like tomatoes and cucumbers, and I have several fruit trees. But I got the question lately is, what about irrigation, John? How do you put in a drip system? So I'm going to do my best to explain that today. In the next couple of weeks here, I'm going to actually go over to a friend's house, and we're going to take his backyard. He has a standard backyard that just has grass and stuff in it, and we're going to convert his backyard, at least put in one raised bed for him, including the irrigation and everything. So stay tuned for that episode coming up in the next couple of weeks. But today we're going to talk about irrigation. Basically, there's two ways to do it. So the first way is how I did it in the backyard. Let me go ahead and jump down here. The first way I did it is in the backyard, and that's just using the regular hose bib. So most people know what that is. That's like basically where you turn on the water and it comes out the hose and you water things by hand. We converted that over to drip irrigation. So why drip irrigation? Well, drip irrigation basically puts water at the point at the plant where the plant needs it in its root zone. So it's very efficient with water. Like many sprinklers just sprinkle, and a lot of sprinklers you'll see will overspray the sidewalk, and it just sprays everything, gets everything wet. And when you have a lawn, maybe you need sprinklers, but when you have plants, if you sprayed everything, it wouldn't be so good. So when you're watering only at the base of the plant, that's the only area where the plant is getting water, and guess what? There's going to be less weeds because you're just not watering all the space and all the soil around the plant that you planted, so you're not going to germinate as many seeds that are already existing in the soil. So saving water, less weed growth, and it just makes it, if you put the water, irrigation on a timer, then you're free to travel. You don't have to worry about going home every day and watering your plants and missing a day and it's going to dry out. You have it on a timer, and they got some really cool connected internet timers now. I'm not quite there yet. One of these days, the internet timers, you could log in from work, see what's going on. They have rain sensors. You could see how wet the soil is, and it like interfaces with like the weather, websites, all kinds of crazy stuff. One of these days maybe I'll do that, but I just got some standard irrigation timers. So it's really important to get on a drip irrigation system. It's just a lot more efficient, and yes, you will make an initial investment that will cost a little bit in some of the supplies, but in the long run, just for the convenience of not having to water. I mean, in the summertime when it gets really hot, I'm confident that everything's getting watered. So we're going to get into the two ways. The first way is actually hose bib way, that's in the backyard, and in the front yard, since I did have a full lawn here, we had the pre-existing sprinkler system with the sprinkler controls, including the timer and the sprinkler valves that we basically converted over to work with the drip system. So first, let's go to the backyard, since that's what most people is going to do, and that's what I recommend people doing if they're just getting into this irrigation for the first time. And then I guess later in the video I'll show a clip of how not to do your irrigation, how I used to do it. I've been through a lot of different ways of doing the irrigation throughout the years, and I found this is the most efficient and effective way to do the drip irrigation. All right, so we're here in my backyard, have some construction going on because we're pulling up and putting pavers. So we put a pile of dirt right next to all the irrigation controls and everything, but we could still explain it to you. So what we have here is the water comes out of my house, and once again, I have a filter housing here, but it's being filtered in the front, so we don't currently have a filter in there. And then it comes out, and this is basically my hose spigot right here. So it comes out, and we could turn it on and off with this ball valve. I like ball valves better than the standard valves. They seem to be a lot more efficient. And then it comes out, and then we divide it into 4. So you don't necessarily need to do this, but if you do have a water timer, you might want to have still a hose connection so that you could hand water if you need to. So you could have a splitter to split into 2. We have a splitter to split into 4. And I'll show you this side. We have a Gilmour water timer. So this is a Gilmour 9400 water timer. The reason why I like the Gilmour water timer, and I've experimented with other timers, is because you could pop this off literally, and all this is now is a ball valve. So literally you could turn it on and off with your hand to manually control it if this timer does go out. There are batteries in the bottom. So that's really nice. So it's a ball valve. Some of the sprinkler controls out there, are actually diaphragm valves, and they have especially problems, especially when it freezes. So if you forget to bring your and take out your diaphragm valves in the wintertime and it freezes, guess what? They're gone. But with this one, they've lasted over the winter without any problems. So I have two examples here. So this is the Gilmore in the box. That's what it looks like. It's a ball valve, works really well. That's the kind I recommend now. And also, you want to check to make sure it uses a standard type battery. This actually uses 4 AA's, so AA's are quite plentiful. Sometimes they'll use 9 volts, and 9 volts can get a lot more expensive actually than AA's. Here's another one I picked up. It's a Vigoro with a wireless moisture sensor. So this is kind of cool. If it's this will sense the soil wetness, and if it's wet enough, it actually won't turn on. It'll override the sensor. But this is, once again, a diaphragm valve, the type I don't recommend. And most places actually sell the diaphragm valve type. I'm not saying that this won't work. It will work, but definitely in the winter time, take it out of service, put it in your house, and don't keep it outside. It'll freeze. Plus, the failure rate for these guys with the diaphragm valve is a lot higher in my experience than with the ball valve as well. And this one actually does take a 9 volt. So once you come out of the faucet, you put this water timer in place, and that basically controls when the water flow goes out to your drip line. So let's see, this is the drip line. It's actually quite buried right now. And the basic thing you'll need to do, and this is very, 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 very important. If you don't remember anything else from this video, you want to remember this, and I'll go ahead and unscrew it. I mean, you could put a lawn sprinkler or anything into this, but this is the drip line here, and it's buried up there. It's coming up now. So all you need to do is you mainly need to get this one first part, which I'll unscrew so you guys can see it. Oh, it's actually screwed in. Oh, it's not too tight. This part is critical. Do not put a irrigation system in without this part. This is actually called an hose bib anti-siphon valve. And you can kind of see in there what it is an anti-siphon valve. So literally it's a one-way valve. So it only lets the water go out into your garden and not back up, because sometimes this can act like a siphon, and say you have mucky water and it'll suck the water back through your irrigation pipes into your house water, and then you'll be drinking nasty garden water. So that's not good. Get one of these. I know it's an extra $5, and you don't really need it, but you should definitely buy it, and don't do drip irrigation without this. So once you have that part, the only other part you're going to need is actually this part right here, and this basically converts over from the hose bib to the half-inch drip pipe. It's just one simple part. I think they're about $2. And the other thing that you may consider as well, we control it here with this with the ball valve on the splitter we have, but is the water pressure. So you might want to get a pressure regulator, because if your pressure is too high, it'll start popping out your emitters, and you're going to have some issues with that. I prefer to have like a ball valve on there so we could actually manually adjust how much we need, rather than a fixed, basically diaphragm, a fixed, piece in there that's going to set my pressure at a certain pressure. So that's pretty much it. You just convert over to this, you run your drip line out this, and then you could definitely bury this stuff and then pop it up right in your raised bed garden, and then at each point you're just going to pop in a drip emitter. I also want to go over a couple parts I have here. In some cases, it might be worthwhile to get a little kit like this. Sometimes these kits have some good parts, and sometimes it works out to be less expensive. Sometimes the kits have some parts that you might not use. So let's see, in this kit, what do we have here? This is a kit actually was on clearance at Walmart, and we could always use extra drip parts here, so I bought the kit. It has a couple different connectors and some emitters and things. It has this spaghetti tube that I recommend not using. And then, but more conveniently, it does have the adapter to adapt over to the drip tube, and it also has that one-way anti-siphon valve with a 25 psi regulator. So if you have these kits here and they come with the big drip hose and not the spaghetti tube, that's what I'd recommend to get. And many times, it's cheaper to do that than actually buy the parts separately. But just definitely check and see what they have at your local home improvement store. So let's go ahead and show you how to, once you have the hose laid out, I'll show you how to actually pop in the drip emitters. It's really simple. So this is John Kohler with GrowingYourGreens.com. We'll see you next time.